We're heading into the second half of the year. As I'm recording this, it is June 23rd. I'm going to do my absolutely bestest to get this out quickly, but I'm also in a bit of an interesting time of my life, to say the least. Welcome to the Feminine Duality, a podcast for midlife women where we heal from burnout and we learn how to take charge of our crazy time again. Managing time is interesting at the moment. So of course I felt like this was absolutely the right day to do a bit of a different podcast episode where I show you in real time how my planning system works, what it is that I do. It will probably make a little bit more sense to you to watch this one on video. You got the video available on Spotify and on YouTube, but if you are listening to an audio podcast version of this episode, I'm going to do my absolutely best to explain what it is I'm doing as I go through, and I have also created templates in Canva of my setup that you can download. As of speaking, I haven't got a clue how to share Canva templates, but I know that other people do it, so I know it's possible. Okay? I'll work it out somehow. Yes, wish me luck. You can be the most organized person in the world, the best planner there ever is, and you can reach a period where you feel blocked. And I'm in a period of my life where I feel blocked. And I feel desperately behind. I am way behind on where I hoped I would be at this stage of the Feminine Duality. I feel like I'm behind on my other channel, Parent XP, which is my special needs family life channel on YouTube. I feel like I am behind on life. I feel like the to-do list is piling up on me, and yeah, this is not a place I like to be in. The main reason for the block is almost over. On the 3rd of June, my disabled daughter had major surgery on her hip. And true to form, she has been very, very sick afterwards, actually sicker than I was even expecting. Sicker than the first time she had this exact surgery done on the other side of her body. I thought she was going to be less sick. She had other plans. She's been in hospital for 20 days. She was in intensive care for 16. She's still in hospital. But regardless, I found it very hard to see time beyond June. Because we had this lead up to her surgery, and the surgery is happening in June. That is the big thing. Everything that I'm doing to be ready for the 3rd of June. And there was no time existing afterwards, if you see what I mean. I knew that afterwards my parents were turning up. They're flying home today. I sent them back to London yesterday. I live in Bedford. So their visit is over as well. But I knew I had that, and I also had a wedding to go to this weekend that's just been. So, you know, everything was June, surgery, oh crap, my parents are here, oh crap, I'm going to a wedding. And now all of that is over. Now I'm like, okay, time is starting again. I now need to look forward to July. I need to look at the second half of this year into Q3. What is happening with both of my online brands? How am I moving the business ahead? What do I have in my personal life that needs dealing with? And also, what do I have in my personal life that's going to throw a lot of spanners in the work? Summer holidays coming up, for example. My daughter being due to be discharged from hospital. We're keeping everything crossed right now that she's coming home tomorrow. It might be the day after, but even after she comes home, she's still going to be very poorly, still going to be very much in recovery. And that means that I need to be available and help out as much as I can, because it's not fair on their dad to be looking after both kids completely on his own, just because that happens to suit me right now. Because, oh, do I ever want to dig down into work and feel like I'm getting somewhere with my stuff? Not fair on him. I will be doing my Aldi shifts and then helping out with my daughters on the days when I don't have Aldi shifts. Helping out. I will be parenting. I will be a mum. My God, I sound like somebody speaking about single dads. Oh, he's babysitting, isn't that sweet? I'm going to be a mum. Speaking as a mother. But yeah, as I say, I had this very real, very tangible block in my planning that I could not see beyond June. And now suddenly June is nearly over and life is opening up quite a lot. I feel very behind because of what's been going on in the first 6 months of this year in my private life that has had a massive impact on my ability to work on my business. And in the next few months, that's not going to be any lighter at all. So I need to readjust my expectations, readjust my goals, remember to be kind to myself. One problem I have had this year actually is that I have been sick a lot. Back in January, I got the flu, and that coincided with my daughter's 4-week-long stay in hospital. I had the flu and I was a hospital parent. And then this time around, this hospital stay, I actually got sick after her surgery while I was still with her in intensive care. So I had a few days where I effectively sat with a mask, gloves and an apron on and tried to stay as far back from her as I possibly could. But this is a sign. This is my body saying, you've been pushing too hard. You really need to reflect on how you've been doing things and try to do them a bit differently. I'm trying to think, what could I do differently? I have been ever so good this year at planning in rest. I'm sitting here on the feminine duality and I'm saying to you, you should plan rest first. And I have been living as I preach. I have been planning rest in first. But I quite possibly haven't planned in enough rest. And what I most definitely haven't done is plan in enough leisure time. It's almost like my rest is productive, It's, I have 4 hours today, that is my own time. So half an hour I'm going to lie down and close my eyes and listen to a podcast or a mindfulness meditation. And then I'm getting up and then I am editing and then I am business planning and then I am washing up and then I am cooking. And I've not really given myself any time to have fun. Kind of forgotten about the social rest. Kind of forgotten about the fact that I am a person outside of mum and outside of business. And that I think really needs to change. And it's hard because that takes more time away from building my business. But I think this is one of those tricky little areas where you need to slow down in order to speed up. I hope that makes sense. I think I'm using this podcast episode as a way of giving myself one of my time and sanity strategy sessions. These one-to-one sessions that I do with people where I will listen to you, what you've got in your life that you feel is overwhelming or that you feel is a block. And I am very good at very quickly seeing your pivot point. I'm not quite as good at it on myself. Takes a bit longer to do it on myself, but for others I am very good at doing it and kind of pinpointing what is the one thing, the one area where you really need to make a change. And I'm sitting here saying I'm not as good at doing it with myself, but I just realized I literally a minute ago said I need to plan in more leisure time. That I've been treating my downtime as a productivity thing and I've not given myself time to have fun. That is my pivot. I actually am pretty good at doing this, even for myself. Right, I also do apologise for the weird light situation we have got going on. I didn't really think about how the sun was shining through the window at this spot in my home. If you're watching it on video, I'm not sitting in my usual armchair. I'm actually sitting at my workstation / TV shelf. I live in an incredibly small flat and everything in here has dual jobs.
I actually like seeing how my face changes as I get older, but that doesn't mean I won't care for it. I use wellbeing Cosmetics natural skincare and it is my favourite collection of skincare products because dry and dull is not the changes I'm looking for. All natural, vegan and pro-aging, Wildmin Cosmetics 5-step care kit leaves my skin feeling hydrated, nourished and more supple, without any harsh chemicals that disrupt my hormones, which is a must during perimenopause. Go to wellmincosmetics.com and use code TOVA44475 for 50% off. That's TOVA 44475 or use the link in the description. As an affiliate, I earn money from qualifying purchases.
We are going to look at my planning system. So I'm going to move back in my journal and onto the first 2 quarters of this year where I had ideas for what I was going to be doing. I have, under the feminine duality, to do weekly podcast episodes and social media posts, and I have not been able to do that. Bi-weekly emails, which I have not been able to do. I have continued work on course and I've kind of, rather than just crossing it out, I've put a little forward arrow as in I'm moving that one into the next quarter. I am actually going to add in here, create Canva templates, planning system and tick that off because I have managed to do that and that is something that I've been working on over the last few weeks. So really quite pleased with that. I am making some headway in terms of reaching out to people that I would like to have as guests on my podcast, but also responding to people who have come to me. And that is definitely something that is going to be a big part of me planning for the next quarter. Under my second brand, Parent XP, weekly vlogs and social media, yes, I have managed to do that, just about. Not social media, actually. I decided to take a step back from social media, and I'm going to explain why in a moment. If you're looking at this on video, you can see that the first quarter of my year, actually, I had a lot of stuff in there and an awful lot that I managed to achieve. And I'm not quite sure how I did that, seeing as I was in hospital for a month with my daughter during that time. But there were definitely things that happened and that I felt were moving forward. The second quarter of this year, there has been so much personal and life admin that has taken up time. So if I then go forward and I look at the second half of this year, and particularly the third quarter, I've already got things written in here. One of them is to take time off over summer. I am going to a wedding end of August in Italy, so I've got a weekend away with my man, which is going to be lovely, but I don't really think that one really counts as taking some sustained time off. But seeing as I don't quite know what is happening with my work rota and what is happening with the girls over the summer in terms of summer schemes and that kind of stuff, I don't have any more annual leave to take, which is a real shame. So this taking time off over summer, I'm actually going to put brackets around that. I don't think it will happen, simply because the reality of life doesn't allow it. We have a massive fight with social services ahead of us, my ex-husband and I, to finally get some increased care for our daughter. If you're interested in that saga, I have vlogs about it on Parent XP. The Feminine Duality is not a special needs channel, but it is very much a how the hell do you plan around real life? And real life for us is that we only get 10 hours respite a week for a child who is severely disabled, needs a minimum of one-to-one support with everything, and cannot assist in any way, shape or form. And this has to change. Under the Feminine Duality for the next quarter, I have not written weekly podcast episodes. I've written regular. Okay, they will come, as I have energy, as I have time, as I have the right frame of mind to record them and edit them. That will do. I have written bi-weekly emails. I have written down to get one podcast guest. Okay, it's a whole quarter. Maybe I'll get more, but the target is one. I'm reining in my targets. I'm trying to not do too much. Now, I have deliberately taken a step back from social media for both of the brands. I believe that long form content is way more important when it comes to growing my presence online. I think I can give you so much more value in a half-hour long podcast episode than I can in a half-a-minute long Instagram reel. And the same with Parent XP. I make money from my vlogs, but I do not make money from my Instagram posts. Where am I going to put my effort? I'm going to put my efforts on YouTube. So I do want to start posting on social media again because I like it, but it's not my priority. If time is tight, if my energy is low, social media is not going to happen. And that's what I've allowed over these last few weeks with the run up to the surgery and the aftermath of the surgery is I've not been on social media. That has not been important, especially not when my daughter has been as sick as she has been. Social media, really don't care. Before I move away from my quarterly planning, literally what I do in my bullet journal is I have one page where I've written up 3 months, just the days and the dates, very small, and under that I have 3 sections. I have a personal section, I have a section for the Feminine Duality, and a section for Parent XP. In the template that you can download, you have 3 sections, but they say work, personal, notes. And you can obviously change them to suit your life. I think it's very important not to go overboard and have too many sections, 3 or less. If you want to have a work and personal, leave it at that. Because the more sections you have, the more overwhelmed you're going to feel. And the point is to create space and reduce overwhelm, not the other way around. And from there, I go into planning my months. And so I have one page with just the month drawn up, and under that I write key dates, and this is where I will jot down specific dates that are happening this month. For example, any meetings, the dates that school ends for my youngest. My oldest is not going back to school this term. She's simply not going to be well enough to go back to school until next school year. And then the really interesting thing I have is a full page that is my vision board for the month. And again, this vision board I personally have in 3 sections. I have Parent XP, I have the Feminine Duality, and I have personal. Under Parent XP and the Feminine Duality, it's episodes to record and edit. We have Plan With Me that I'm recording right now. And then I have a list. I have a list from June. Oh yes, Guilt and Second Guessing, which was a request. Like you make a decision and then you feel guilty and you second guess yourself, which is just, it's so feminine duality. It's the perfect suggestion and I'm 100% going to do that. I have one episode planned on how to work with the seasons and the rhythms of your life when these are more or less predictable. So I'm talking about working with the school year, working with your cycle, knowing that Christmas is coming and that December is a completely different ball game than March is, for example. Oh, ding. Those kinds of predictable seasons. I then have another episode planned, which is dealing with the unpredictable seasons of your life and the ones that you don't quite know when they will end. This is a big, interesting topic. You know, yes, I knew my daughter's surgery was the 3rd of June. I did not know that 20 days later she was still going to be in hospital. I did not expect that. It's learning to deal with those. It's what do you do when you're dealing with sudden loss? How do you plan your life and your time around your relationship failing or losing your job? These are the unpredictable seasons that happen in our lives, and we still somehow want to function and we feel that we can't quite function because life has really thrown us a curveball. And I have loads of vlogs already recorded for Parent XP, so I'd need to go through my footage and see exactly what they are before I write them down. And then from here, I move into my day-to-day planning. And I give myself half a page per day. I write down the hours I am working for Aldi, or just a dash if I'm not working. Usually I write next to it whether the girls are with me or with their dad. I very often do a little square bracket and I put in the number of hours I've got where I'm not at Aldi and I don't have the girls, to give me an idea of what time I have actually got to get on with my own stuff. Hey you. Is it time for you now? I have to create a cat bed of my lap here. And so if I'm looking at today, I've dropped off my youngest daughter at school. It then took me a very long time to get home because there's been an accident on the road that I was driving. So really my time for working today is between 10 and 2:30. And seeing as it's already midday, I need to make sure that I get lunch. And then after I pick my daughter up from school, we're going to the river for a river swim together with friends. And I will literally go through all the days for the coming few weeks and have a look at what is feasible on any given day. And I don't overplan days ahead because I work with what my energy and my capacity is looking like on any given day. But we did have this thing of more leisure time. Excuse you. Can I? I was writing in that. Luca. No. Oi. Right, there we go. I've written give myself leisure time underneath my cat's butt. Come here. Thank you. You don't need to sit on the thing I'm writing on every time. There you go. Let's have a cuddle. But I did mention being stuck. So let me just talk through the internal buzzing monologue of to-do that I have when it comes to my business. Regular podcast episodes. Anybody who is running an online brand, we hear this, oh, you need to post every week. That's the only way to grow your audience. You need to be consistent, you need to be reliable, you need to be present, you need to post every week. So that is one of the little voices in my head. The same with the social media posts. Be on social media all the time. What I have actually found, particularly on Parent XP, when I have taken a break of a few weeks, when I come back, that's when I see the growth. Posting regular vlogs, working on sponsorships and affiliates. This is supposed to become self-employment and get me out of having to be employed to anybody else. One-to-one sessions, really promoting the fact that I do one-to-one sessions with people where I sit down, we talk through where you're stuck, where you feel overwhelmed, and I help you find that pivot point, that area where if you make that one change, things will start to fall into place. And it can be a single one-off one-to-one session, or it can be a series of one-to-one sessions if you've got something bigger to work through. What I haven't yet got is a website that you can buy this through. Guess what's on this list? Website! But you can contact me either at tova at thefeminineduality.com or through DM on Instagram and just say, I'm interested. Can we book in a session? How much do you charge? Like, that option is open to you, all right? We'll find a time that suits both of us. And we'll do this over Teams, so we don't have to meet up in person, but we can carve out that 1 hour that is our space and work things through. But yes, website build, very much that internal monologue of you have to do this Because I have to have a website, and I have to have ways of people to find me, and I have to have backlinks, and I have to have search engine optimizations, and I have to have a payment system and a booking system and a this, that, and the other, right? There's a lot of stuff that you have to have when you run your own business. I need to create my course. Until I have actually drafted the course outline, I can't start recording it. Until I've recorded it, I can't start selling it. And I know that you need access to this. There are so many of you who have contacted me and said, where can I get this? And it's not built yet. And this is part of why I feel so behind, because I actually thought that by now I would have my course outlined, and at the very least knowing what I'm recording for each section of the course. I don't even know what platform I'm going to put the course on. Okay? I have to decide whether I'm going evergreen or whether I'm teaching live. I have to work on my newsletters. I have to grow my email list. Like, this is the big list that is constantly buzzing in my head. And I'm one person. I'm doing this all on my own while I work full time, while I am a mom, while I'm trying to find some time to rest and now apparently to socialize and have some leisure time. No wonder I need my coffee, right? And I have this eternal question in my mind. What is the one thing I should be focusing on? What is the one thing that will actually move the needle? We know what one of them is, and that is my vlog episodes. My vlog episodes have to happen because I make money from them. That moves the needle. I really believe in my podcast episodes. I believe in my long-term form content and this deeper connection with you. I really think that growing the email list is a needle mover for me. But in all honesty, all of these are important. It is so hard for me to say one is more or less important than the other. I need all of these to happen, but I can't focus on all of them at once. And that is the problem, because then I'm doing my weekly vlogs and I'm doing my weekly podcast episodes, and that is all I really have capacity for, and then none of the big things actually happen. So I'm going to put an asterisk next to the course creation. Course creation is something that has to happen, because if I don't make the course, I won't have anything to sell. And then it doesn't really matter if I have a big email list or a big audience, because no matter how big my audience is, if I've got nothing to sell to them, then what am I doing? You know what? The website will have to wait. It's less important. Making a decision on whether I'm teaching evergreen or teaching live, that can wait. The other things like social media posts and guest episodes and the newsletters, they are still on there. They're still important, but they are not what I will be reaching for first on a high energy, high capacity day. So going ahead, my two main pivots: give myself some leisure time, be sociable, go out and meet people, have conversations, live your life, woman, be something else than mother, and create the course. Those are my two big pivots that I need to focus on to actually make shifts happen. I like that. That works for me. And I hope that this has given you a little bit of a glimpse into what my process is for the planning, what my process is for the time and sanity strategy sessions. That really it is about having a conversation and see what lands. I'm pretty sure that a few of you who were listening spotted the leisure time thing minutes before I did. But that's the thing, it's always easier when you're external, when you're talking to somebody else, when it's not about you. It's very easy to get stuck when it is all about you. Hello, glorious cat. You're very beautiful. Yeah. And now I think it is time for me to go and make lunch and create something to bring us a picnic so we can have that as dinner when we're down by the river. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again very, very soon. Bye.
From ashes, dust, and crooked lines, I forged a fire.